my movie recollection with Vincent Cloud,
And Hardcore Dave.
and we're here to talk about movies, Dave.
Yep.
Quickly, randomly, the
Yeah.
old in and out. Well, let's go to your selection first. What's number 1 through 18? Is that what you said? Or
6, 9, 12. I have 15.
15? Okay. Well,
15 movies from my shelf to choose from.
uh, give me lucky number 5. It's not even lucky to me at all. I don't
Oh,
associate with 5.
you
Oh
couldn't
wait,
have
don't
picked
don't tell me.
anything better.
But don't tell me. What we do
Okay.
is I have to guess, and then if we've never seen that movie, you have to assume the plot, the
Okay.
synopsis. Okay. So what's it start with? How many words in the title?
One word title starts with a T.
Titanic.
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm out. Tremors. Whoa, that's cool. Oh, the
Yeah,
attack
Tremors.
pack. Well, let's
Yeah,
just
this is
talk
the
about the
attacker.
first
This
one.
has one, two, three, and four.
Ooh. But there's like 7 of them now, right? They keep
Yeah, there's a
going.
lot on Netflix. Some really bad Tremors movies. They're-
Well, let's talk about that first one though. That's good, I
Yeah,
think.
the first one's iconic.
Yeah.
They definitely they get like super campy and like with the sequels and all that, and just kind of going off of the fame of the first one. But the first one as just like a standalone movie was awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward,
Yeah.
even had like Reba McEntire was in it. It had the little girl from Jurassic Park.
On a pogo stick.
Yep.
Um, what's his name? The convenience store owner. I always like him. He was
Is
in
that Mr.
big
Miyagi?
big no, it isn't.
Oh,
You bastard.
I didn't know.
uh, what else? Great creature. I like the graboid as it's referred to in the movie. They're
Yeah.
gigantic fucking land sharks in a way. But then they
Yep.
open their beaks and like these three-headed tongues come out and
Yeah, those tentacles come out and
yeah,
they all got their own eye or like not really eyes, but like heads and teeth.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was great. Just I love the whole construction of the movie where you got Kevin Bacon and his buddy and they're just, a couple of farm hands that kind of just go around looking for work, if you need to
Yeah,
put
yeah,
up a
yeah.
fence or something, they'll help you out or build a deck maybe or maybe they got to clean out some porta potties or some shit like that. They'll take the work they can find. I don't know. I just love the setup of those two because they're both really good characters. And then, then there's a girl. There's the chick who's like a seismologist that, she's a student at a university or something. She's out in the desert, like checking, earthquakes and weird readings that they've been having. And you're like, oh, that's odd. But like that ties into the plot. She's there because she's investigating weird stuff that's been going
Yeah.
on.
Oh, so good. The Tremors are also kind of smart. They kind of they're
Hmm.
a bit of problem solvers. Of course, what's the big thing? You can't touch the ground. They'll hear that
Yep.
shit. That's
The
so it's
slightest
basically
vibration, they can
yes.
hear it and feel it.
It's like don't touch the ground. It's lava. Don't touch, right?
Yeah.
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 So that's
Floor is
built-in
lava.
fun. Yeah, exactly. Ah, God
Yeah.
damn it.
Some of the sequence where with the pogo stick, and then there's like we gotta make a distraction, and they get like the lawnmower, and they have the lawnmower like driving off, and it starts to chase the lawnmower, and then they like she jumps over to the water tower, and then like the water starts falling down to the ground, and it senses that, and it starts going over there because it feels this vibration. There's some cool sequences.
Another sweet sequence is at night where it's swallowing the car. So like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
faraway shot and you could just see the headlights like go up
Yeah.
and it like gets swallowed up. That was awesome. That was really
Yeah, because
cool.
they're looking for that old couple and they hear some faint music, and it was the radio from the old Ford station wagon that's down buried in the sand. Then they like brush off some sand and the headlight is there.
Oh,
Like, what the
man.
heck?
Who was the husband of Reba McEntire in that movie? He basically becomes the main character of all the franchise, whatever that
Yeah,
dude.
I think Michael Gross.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the bald guy. Yeah,
right.
and he's got like the Atlantic Hawks hat. Yeah, he was like the prepper, he lives out in the middle of nowhere. He's like, this is the day we've been waiting for. Because he's got the basement, just a wall of guns,
Oh yeah.
and he probably just sits down there watching Chuck Norris fucking TV shows.
Yeah, that was cool, of course, when it bursts through into that collection of guns and they just
Yeah.
unload on it. It's nuts.
Yeah, it was great because over the CB radio, that Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward are trying to tell him they're coming your way, they're coming your way, and he's looking out the window. He's like, I don't see nothing. What are you talking about? They're like, oh, they're under the ground. They're under the ground. He's like, huh, under the ground? What does that mean? And it just crashes through the wall.
Oh man.
And the CGI in that scene was so bad, it was great. Where it's like in front of a green screen and he's shooting the gun at it. Like as a kid, I didn't notice how bad it looks. As an adult, it's like, oh wow, that was really bad looking. Oh,
uh but gory deaths though. I mean when the graboids, when the tremors die, like at the very end where they trick it into like popping out of that cliff,
yeah,
when it finally lands, it's fucking gross, but pretty sweet. Yeah.
yeah. Just
Damn.
like pumpkin guts just everywhere, just
Yeah,
exploding and
yeah.
falling on top of them from the sky.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I have seen the sequels. The next one isn't that bad. I feel like they really the third one's crazy. It's like they don't give a damn. Like they're like, this is silly as shit. And it
Yeah,
is, but I don't know. The sequel's not that bad. It is there's some parts where it's really creepy. The new creatures. Yeah.
yeah. And it didn't have the same cast. I don't think Fred Ward came or Kevin Bacon came back.
He didn't, but Fred Ward was the main guy
Yeah.
that time, I
And then they
think.
brought in like a new guy, this younger guy, I forget his name.
Oh man. God, I haven't seen I only saw it once, I think. But I didn't mind it. They were the ones that like would they couldn't see, they could only see body heat, those creatures. So
Yeah.
like their
Yep.
heads would pop up and it was so gross. You could see the insides and it's all gooey and they're like that's them listening.
Yeah.
They're like
Yep.
uh,
Yeah, and that was cool. There was some cool stuff they did with that because it was like heat seeking, so it was kind of like Predator,
yeah,
and they had to get
yeah.
like the fire extinguisher, and like he covers himself with like his flannel, and he sprays himself with a fire extinguisher to be really cold. That way he can sneak in there and like try and get some guns or some C4 or something there because they were gonna blow them all up. I think they were like herding them all into this one building, and they're gonna try and blow them all up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But then those monsters were smart. They would like build
Yeah, oh
on each
yeah,
other. Yeah.
yeah.
Tremors 2. I got to rewatch that. I think I'll like
Yeah.
it. Not as
When I
probably
first
not as
watched it,
much.
I didn't like it when I first watched it, but upon rewatching it, I enjoyed it a lot more. Because the first time I was so upset that Kevin Bacon wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But once I got over that, I was like, okay, it's actually kind of a cool movie too.
Yeah, because like eventually they leave the graboid and it's just these new creatures, I think, right? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't remember. But
Yeah. The
hey,
graboid was just like a vessel for these other things to come
yeah.
out. And then I think at like the end of I think it was at the end of the second movie, they started to like be able to fly or something like that. And it was just like, oh gosh. Well, so now they're not only are they on land, but now they're gonna be in the air.
That's the third one. That's when they literally they call them ass blasters because like all
Oh
the
yeah.
momentum goes through their ass. They literally fart and they could fly, and you're like, okay, this is this is. They're like, we're just having fun. We're just being extremely silly. Like whatever minor, I don't know. Tremors was never that deep though. either. It's just very good. It's very fun. They're fun movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
One more. Well, yeah. Let's just move on.
Yeah. No, come
Well,
on.
I
One
was gonna say
more.
I showed Tremors to my fiance, and she to this day will always say it is the worst movie she's ever watched in her life. She hated it, every part about it, and like I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking at her like, "Dude, aren't you enjoying this great movie?" And she's like, "This is stupid." I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's stupid, but it's funny." And she's like, "No, it's not funny. It's just stupid."
Oh man. No, that's it, I don't know. You can't help but laugh about that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
sometimes a movie that you think is weird but enjoy might be very weird to other people. They're like, how could you even like the very concept is mind-boggling and shit like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Oh, pick a letter, Dave, and 1 through
Uh,
10.
letter L.
Elf and
Do you need a number or another
yeah,
letter?
one through 10.
Um, 7.
Oh, wait, hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 7. Okay. Uh, it's a multiple word title. For I want to say 8 word title.
Oh God.
Actually,
Okay.
it's the
The
first word.
Legend of the Cowardly Jesse James or something like that.
Actually, you know what? Technically, it's starts with a the, and then it's
Okay.
an L word. Yeah. So,
The Lord of the Rings,
but which one? Hmm?
Two Towers,
Wrong. Oh my God,
Return of the King.
I've never seen someone be so wrong before. No, it's Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the
Oh,
Ring.
okay.
What do you think, Dave? Is it your favorite out of the trilogy or what?
Two Towers was my favorite.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah.
But Fellowship is my second favorite.
Ooh, okay.
Um, it's so weird like reading like stuff on there's a lot of Lord of the Rings content on TikTok, and a lot of the younger generation of people who weren't there and watched those movies when they came out, they think that Return of the King was the greatest movie because it won all of those
Oh,
Oscars. It
yeah.
swept the Oscars, and they did that because they didn't want Lord of the Rings winning every single year and just bogarting all of the awards for 3 years straight. So they just gave it all to the last movie. But Return of the King was actually the weakest of the three because Return of the King, Merry and Pippin were split apart, and the movies are better when those two are together on screen.
Oh,
Sam and Frodo were split apart for a large portion of it after the Shelob thing. Um, so until like the very end on the mountain, and Frodo is such like a shell of himself that he's not really likable anymore. He's kind of an asshole because he's not listening to Sam or believing Sam or anything. Uh, so it, there's lots of reasons why I don't like Return of the King. It's a phenomenal movie. I love it, but like if I'm just gonna sit down and I'm watching 3 hours of a movie, I want it to be Fellowship or Two Towers.
awesome. Wow. Very well put. I have my problems with Return of the King. They're different, but yeah, you're right about that other stuff. I actually covered this in a previous recollection episode, so check that
Yeah,
out. I don't know which episode it is, but yeah.
you're just gonna have to watch them all.
Yeah, catch up.
So, were you talking about Return of the King or just the trilogy as a whole?
Return of the King, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all
But
right, I'm
hey,
gonna check that out.
we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about Fellowship. Of course, I liked it. Um, I remember just jumping right to the end where I'm like, oh, I thought I had this trilogy figured out. I thought that at the end they would destroy the ring. And then the second one was a whole nother adventure. That's what I thought was going to happen. Like, like Star Wars,
Uh
like the
huh.
Death Star gets destroyed in A New Hope. And then it's about something else, the consequences in the sequel or
Yep.
something, right? So when they're like, well, let's go. And then like cuts to credits. I'm like, what?
I had the same thing. I did not know that there was a kid in my class. I don't remember what year it was. I was probably like a freshman in high school. It was like the year 2000 or something.
Mhm.
And this guy Matt, he's like, "Hey, have you seen Lord of the Rings? I just saw it like a week ago." He's like, "It was," and I never really talked to this guy. We weren't really close friends. Like we were classmates, but not really friends. He's like, "You got to watch Lord of the Rings. It's a great movie. Just you got to watch it. It is so good." And I was like, "Okay." Like I'd never heard him like say anything like definitive like that. So I'm like, "Okay." So I went and I rented it, and it's like it came on two VHS tapes because it couldn't all fit onto one, and I'm watching it, and I didn't know it was based on a book. I didn't know that there was two sequels, like, that are coming the next year. I just thought it was one movie. So yeah, I was expecting them to. So I watched a lot of the movie. I put in the second tape, started watching it, and then I paused it right around the Mines of Moria,
Yeah.
and I paused it then, and then like because it was too late at night, I was going to school the next day. So the next night I start watching it, and I didn't really remember where in the VHS tape I really was. It was just, it's on two VHS tapes. It could I don't know how long this movie's going to be. Start watching it. It's I'm in the Mines of Moria, Gandalf versus the Balrog, and Gandalf dies, and it's like the most terrifying. Like, no, I can't believe Gandalf died. But in my head, I'm like, they got to be really close to Mount Doom. They're going to destroy the ring. It's going to be right there, like on the other side. Once they're just going to have to do it without Gandalf. But then they walk out of the side of the mountain, and then there's just helicopter shots, and they're playing music, and then it was credits, and I was like, what? What is this? I'm like, where's the rest of the movie?
Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit. But very good. Yeah, it was a really weird ending, but you haven't seen nothing until you saw the Return of the King. If you want weird endings, I mean, come on. That was
Oh yeah.
just a taste.
If you
The
want
two
18 different
towers,
endings.
the two towers doesn't even have an ending, believe it or
Yeah.
not. It doesn't even have a beginning.
It's like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Um, so I don't know, Fellowship of the Ring. It's really different because that first part outside of the opening, establishing story, it's all about the Shire. It's a certain pace. It's a nice pace. You
Yeah.
soon you're just like, I love it here. Like,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
so great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it because you just get introduced to the Shire and you're like, "Oh, I love this world. It's so like peaceful and calm and like this looks amazing." And then, then you start to learn about the ring, destroying the ring, like, "Oh my, what are they all talking about?" And then pretty soon, you know, Sam and Sam shows up and then he's going along and then they bump into Mary and Pippin as they're, like a couple of stoners like stealing some carrots and, potatoes from like a gardener's field. And then all of a sudden there's like the ring wraiths or like the Nazgul are on horseback and they're searching for the ring and they're like hiding on the side of the road and you're like, whoa, this is creepy and weird.
Oh yeah.
And then they run into Aragorn and then they're like the ring goes onto his finger and it disappears and like there's all of this crazy stuff that you like, I don't know. It's just watching it just everything blew my mind because I had no expectations of what was going to happen next, and it like the movie would just go anywhere, and that's what kind of made it great.
um, Actually, it didn't go anywhere, right? It just ended. Just that. Like what? Um, okay, Sean Bean. It wasn't my introduction to Sean Bean. I think that was 007 Goldeneye. But I remember when he dies, Boromir, he dies at the end. It's like super dramatic, but I'm like, no, this is like, I don't know. It like milked the death scene for all it's worth. It was one of the more, I don't know. I was like, do I even care this much about this character? But it didn't matter. The way Peter Jackson filmed it, the acting, I was like, oh my God, he's dead. He's fucking dead, man.
I really liked him. I liked him because he was the guy who was playing a man, just like a man. Because you had Gandalf the wizard, you had little hobbits, you had dwarves, elves. I'm like Boromir was the man. Like there was Aragorn, but Aragorn was like something different, because he says that he's mysterious and he says he's like 800 years old or
Yeah.
something, and he's the descendant of Isildur, and there's something like bigger. And so I was like, okay, Aragorn looks like a human, but maybe he's not quite human. I don't know what he is. But like Boromir was the human guy to me. And then when they're in like Rivendell and they form the fellowship, and he's like, one does, the famous meme, one does not simply walk into Mordor. Like that scene was really cool.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that scene. And it like literally broke my heart that that became like a giant meme on the internet because like it was one of my favorite scenes and I thought it was so good, but then everyone just made a joke out of it. And I
Oh
was just
no.
like, oh, that's slander.
No, no. I would take it. I would be happy that like I think you should be happy, right? That scene was good. It's part of culture now, pop culture. That's how good
Yeah.
that scene was. Sure, eventually people stop remembering what the meme was supposed to happen and they just establish it for every joke now. But
Hmm.
it's just something that happens, buddy.
Yeah, I get that now. I get that now. Like there's more clarity on the situation because
Yeah.
you see how things become memes, and it's not like an insult. It's really a tip of the cap, a lot of
Although
times.
I don't know if I'd like to become a meme. I mean, it would really depend on what that meme was saying.
Yeah, there's definitely good ones and bad ones.
Yeah. Like that one guy who goes like this, like you can't be used if you're useless, shit like that. Okay. Fellowship of the Ring. What's another thing to take out of this? Of course, Ian McKellen, Gandalf, he was nominated for this role. He is terrific.
Oh
Like
yeah.
all the words, I believed that he was that fucking wizard. I believed he knew his shit, and yeah, it was amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. When I would go on to try and watch Harry Potter later, like Dumbledore just didn't do it for me because I'm like, he's not as good as Gandalf. Like, I don't know.
Right. It's
That's why
funny.
I was always a Professor Snape guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um, I think that's it. Should we move on?
Sure.
I mean, I could really keep talking about Lord of the Rings for the rest of this episode. It's pretty awesome, but
I
let's move
could too.
on. 15? I don't know why I want 18, but let's do 12. Let's have it.
Yep. I feel like we already did this movie. Maybe I don't know.
Oh
Okay,
no.
you like
Okay.
I'm gonna make you guess. It's
Okay.
two words. Do you want
What's
to
it
know what it
start with?
starts with?
Yeah, yeah.
Starts with a M. Two words.
Two words. Monster Squad. Mamma Mia. Uh who's in it? Anyone in it?
Nicole Kidman.
Moulin Rouge?
Yes. Have we done this yet?
No.
Oh,
No,
we
we have
haven't? Okay.
not.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Great Gatsby. Maybe that's what I was
Oh,
thinking.
that's
Of.
yes. There we go.
Baz Luhrmann.
Yes, exactly. Dude, I love Moulin Rouge. One of my favorite, well, it's just a memory, but it's so funny. I really want to watch the movie. So, the whole family were like, we're gonna go rent some movies. So this was my pick. This is the first movie we start watching. We're all there in the living room, and I play it, and slowly everyone leaves. uh, but I liked it, man. I didn't care.
I mean, they're not wrong. And I love this movie, but like if you don't know what you're in store for,
Oh, for sure.
if you just start watching it, like I didn't know it was a musical. The whole reason I like this movie is because of you, Vince, because like you were watching it and like I didn't know, and you're like, trust me, Dave. You're like, Dave, you like Star Wars, right? You like Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like this is Ewan McGregor. I'm like, okay. He's like, but it's a musical, and I'm like, fuck, that's weird. I'm like, okay. So just started watching, and it's, it's a weird movie, and but it's so like Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor are so good in it. Like, and the cast is so quirky and weird, and the sets and costumes are all so awesome. Like it's a great movie. I still think like the last 30 minutes of the movie kind of got a little muddy and a little boring,
I can see that. I can see that.
dragged on a little bit.
Yep.
So that last 30 minutes I think could have been edited better. I think it was really just editing that they needed to do. But they had some big long musical acts that they were doing, and they just, they didn't want to cut too much of it out. But it's so much fun, and it was like this movie for me, it was like a great, like, I'm bored, I'm going to put in a movie after like a long days at work. I'm going to put in a movie and I'm going to drink a couple beers, because it's just like, I don't know. It's just like something funny, and it's like the mood that it puts you in is you get like into this weird, like kind of like circus, weird, anything can happen mood, like the absinthe green fairy. Like, I don't know. It just puts you in a different state of mind when you watch this movie. It's like doing psychedelics or something. It's the only thing I can equate it to.
And also it's a different sort of musical. It's pre-known songs, like it's a
Yeah.
jukebox sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not original songs. It's like songs you've heard before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's always fun. I was like, is
Hmm.
this Nirvana? Like all of a sudden they're and then they go into like some Elton John, and yeah, there is some original music. Come what may, is the one original song because that's their love song to each other. So yeah, there you go. Also for the record, I bought the soundtrack because I love this music so much. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I I will say I always hated Nicole Kidman. Always hated her. This movie made me, I don't know that I'd say that I like her. I like her in this movie, and but I respect her. Like, I have like a respect for Nicole Kidman that I never really had before. Cause like I saw her in the one with Tom Cruise. Um uh, what is it? It's like the Great Race or something. It's where they're like
Right.
in the land grab in Oklahoma where they're trying to get plots of land, and she's like this rich, New England girl or whatever. And like I'd seen that and I thought she was just a pompous bitch, and I'm like, I hate her. And like in this movie she kind of plays like a pompous bitch type role as well, but it was so good that I'm like, I liked her from there on out. And I was like, all right, you passed my test. I'm like, that movie, it got me so much cred on her. And like Nicole Kidman, she's probably done like 50 movies. I've probably only seen like 3 or 4 of her movies. But because of this movie, like I will always like her.
She's funny in this movie.
Hmm.
Like there's an energy that you have to have because of Baz Luhrmann's direction, like a hyperactive, like, hey, and shit like that.
Hmm.
And you can see her do that because she's in fact is a performer in the movie. She's like, she sings and dances. She's also a prostitute, which
Yeah.
is, yeah. But let's get into the other minor characters. I love the Duke, the bad guy,
Oh yeah, he's
where he's
so
like
good.
love and shit like that. Like that actor, that's like his only chance he ever got to play a funny guy or whatever. He's so good in that. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Very good.
He was, yeah, one of the best parts. And then also what's his name? Starts with
Ziegler.
the L. What's that?
Oh, Leguizamo.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Leguizamo, John Leguizamo.
Latouche Lautrec, I think he played a real life person. Like he really was like this alcoholic dwarf that, oh my gosh, like he deserves a movie on his own. I think he does have one, but yeah. And then also Ziegler, the top hat guy who's like introduces everything.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, he's so good. I thought that he should have gotten nominated for this role. In fact, I think that Nicole won the year after this because she didn't win for this. We kind of mentioned
Oh,
it
okay.
about Lord of the Rings and stuff like that,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because she won for the hours, and where she was barely in it, she was good. But I just feel like everyone was like, oh man, she should have won for Moulin Rouge, but Halle
Mm-hmm.
Berry beat her and shit like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, but
Yeah, they
Ian,
did that a lot with the Oscars where you should have won for one thing, but they didn't give it to you. So then a year later, it was like DiCaprio winning for The Revenant
yes,
when he should have won. I don't even remember what movie. Was it Wolf of Wall Street or something?
he was good in
Whatever.
it. It was good,
Yeah,
but
something he had before that. I don't remember.
well, they say that about like Al Pacino in Son of a Woman, just because he didn't win for The Godfather and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Oh, Ian McGregor, of course. I love his fucking voice. It's a
Oh
good
yeah.
singing voice. But again, it's so funny because my mom was like, oh, "I fucking hate that voice." I'm like, oh, that's something that I love, and but like
Yeah.
I don't know. I am used to loving things that a lot of people just don't get, or
Mm.
they just don't care for it. So I'm fine with it. Whatever. Whatever.
I think part of the reason I didn't like this or I didn't want to watch this movie at first was the song, the Christina Aguilera song.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, that was that cover of whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't
It was
pronounce it.
such an annoying song, and I did not like Christina Aguilera. And I don't know, it soured me from even wanting to watch the movie. So, and it like
Well,
honestly, it's probably one of my least favorite parts of the movie, like watching it. 'Cause I don't know, I just never gotten to that part.
Lady Marmalade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, come on, it wasn't just her. There was Pink on that song, Mia,
Uh,
Lil Kim. No, who else? Someone else. I don't know. But hey, we're nearing the end. Uh, that was my movie recollection. Like, subscribe, comment. This was Vincent Cloud.
Hardcore Dave.
Grr, grr, grr.
Hardcore.